you guys, the Curious Owl here, and today I have the Battle of the Bookish announcement for the fall week-long round. I am so excited for this. I know that this is probably one of my more favorite things to ever talk about because I love my month-long readathons. I love my week-long ones. I just love this readathon in general. I love that it's one that I get to do every single year, multiple times a year, and I just can't wait for this one in particular because I think this is going to be a really fun week-long round. So if you do not know what Battle of the Bookish is, I'm going to run through some of the things that are kind of involved with it before we get into the nitty-gritty of what this particular round is going to be about. Battle of the Bookish is basically a readathon where you are collecting points for your individual teams that essentially will help determine the winner. So each book has different sets of points that go into it. There are prompt-based points and there are page-based points. So how this works is that for every book you read, you will get, depending on the length of the book, a certain amount of points for the length of it, and then if it fulfills a certain prompt, you will also get a certain amount of points that get added to your page points. So how this works is, for instance, if I decide to read Ace of Spades for any particular reason, if it fits a prompt, the prompt itself is going to be worth so many points, and then based on the length of this book, I will then have so many points for the pages, and then those get added together to give you your total points for this book in particular. Now, when it comes to the week-long readathons, we do try to make sure that people understand that it's a little different than our month-long ones because our month-long ones are over the course of an entire month. The week-long ones are a little different because it is, for one, something that is a lot shorter, and on top of it, that means that there's a lot less in terms of prompts, a lot less in terms of, abilities to get points. But for this round, I'm pretty excited because I think we've got some really cool things going on that you guys will be excited for, and it's quite different than how we've done readathons in the past. Each team also has a particular set of skills that they are able to use over the course of the week per their choice. They don't have to use it, but it is something that they will have the ability to use at some point in the readathon if they choose to, which we'll get into in a little bit when we go over the different teams. So without further ado, with the most basic stuff out of the way, let's get into what this readathon is going to be. This readathon is going to be going from October 21st, so a little bit more than a week away, all the way to October 27th. So it's not going to go into Halloween because of the fact that Halloween lands in the middle of a week basically, but this will be a week-long readathon leading up to Halloween. This year's week-long readathon, or this season's week-long readathon, I guess I should say, is going to be a build your own season because our theme for the next month-long readathon that we're going to be having in January of 2025 is based around seasons. So we decided to give something that would have more abilities to basically do as much as you can within a week by creating your own season based on the types of books that you decide to read. So this is going to be super, super fun. So let's get into all of the different things. First of all, we have each of the teams fall, winter, spring, and summer that you can be a part of. You can choose whichever one you want, but the prompts are going to have you create your own very special type of season, like fall rainy weather or summer rainy weather or whatever the case may be. You get to pick your season team, but then you get to create your own perfect seasonal weather within that. So this is going to be really fun. I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with this, but let's get into the different prompts that we have that everybody gets to use. So like I said, no matter what team you're on, these are prompts that everybody gets to use. They are all going to be worth 50 points each for the prompt itself, for whichever book you decide to fulfill that prompt. And then we'll get into the page points in just a minute. So the prompts we have are as following. Rain, a book that is sad or has you crying. Thunderstorm, a book that has a lightning bolt on the cover. Snow, a white book. Wind, a book that feels like it will blow you away, or basically an anticipated 5-star read. Partly Cloudy, a book with clouds on the cover. Sunshine, a book with yellow, orange, and or red on the cover. Can be a mix of them, can be individual colors, one of those is fine. Heat, a book that gets steamy, so like your romances, your erotica, smut, whatever. Chill, a book that feels nice and cozy. Cold, a book that freezes you in your tracks or is otherwise basically an intimidating read. Short days, read a short book. Long days, read a chunky book. You can mix and match these to any season. It does not matter what team you're on. You are building your most perfect seasonal day no matter what team you're on. So if you want a summer with a short day as opposed to a long day, that is perfectly fine. It is completely up to you. You're just picking which seasonal team you are for, but then you get to create your own season based on these prompts. Now, like I said, this is going to be 50 points each per prompt that you use, and then in addition, like I said before, you will have your page points. So let's go back to Ace of Spades. If I go back to Ace of Spades, which I would say would count for either snow or sun because it has either white and or red on the cover, it would be worth 50 points, but then the page length would be an additional so many points, which for this copy that I have, when I don't include any acknowledgements or extra stuff at the back, 415 points. So based on our handy dandy little chart, this would be basically 70 points worth of page points. Add on the 50, this would be worth 120 points by itself. Now the aim of the whole readathon, like I said, is to collect as many points as you can to have your team be the winner, and that team that wins is going to get an advantage in the month-long readathon in January. They will get a 200 point advantage for their team for the next readathon, which can make or break the entire readathon in terms of points and stuff. So it might be in your best interest to do your absolute best that you can that week so that you can earn points for your team and then get those points for the month-long readathon. Now, I did mention that there are team skills that can be used. So each seasonal team is going to have one particular skill they can use only once in the week of the readathon. So let's start with summer. This is to use the heat to your advantage and burn through a book that you don't like. This basically will give you the ability to DNF a book for full points. Normally, DNFs will only be counted for 5 points if especially you get within the 25% range of the book before DNFing, but this will allow you to DNF one book for the full amount of points it would have gotten if you had finished the book in its entirety, which can be really, really helpful for some people who are just not loving a certain book, but they do want to get it for the most amount of points that they can get. Then for fall, we have cozy up with those prompts. So for this one, you can use 2 prompts for 1 book. Typically, we ask that you only use 1 prompt per book, but this team will have the ability to double up for 1 book in terms of the amount of prompts. For winter, we have Snowball, which is to get double points for a book. So different from the double prompts that's going on, this is you would get 1 book worth double the points it would get. So whatever point total it would get, normally you would just double that for 1 book in particular. And then for spring, we have Spring Up in the most unlikely of places. Use a book for a prompt it normally would not fit. So you would have the ability to basically say, hey, I have this book, it doesn't really fit this prompt, but I want to use it anyway. You have the ability to do that for 1 book only if you were on the spring team. Now, these skills do not go between teams, so each team has their own skill. Whichever team you pick, you have that skill to use. You may use it, you may not. It is available for you to use, but only the 1 time. So you're gonna wanna be really smart about how you use that skill. And basically that is it in terms of the most important information that is needed for this next round of our Battle of the Bookish skills training camp. I am so excited for this. I think this is going to be really fun to see how everybody creates their own seasons and all that stuff. I am so excited for our Discord specifically because it's going to have a lot of cool stuff going on in there in terms of the conversations of people talking about their seasons. Like, I'm just super excited for this. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us on our Discord, which will be linked down below, or leave me a comment in this video and let me know if you have any questions, because I'd be more than happy to answer since there are some things that could be misconstrued very easily. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.